when it comes to all the Bond films, villains we've seen, and yeah, and as much as I don't like the man with the golden gun, I still agree that Christopher Lee's character in that movie is a much more active playing villain per se. And this guy, he's not as active. He doesn't, he's not the guy chasing down Bond like some of these other villains we had. I mean, we had Goldfinger, who was actually involved with all of the things. That's why, to me, it's not as good as Goldfinger, and it's not as good as From Russia.
I'll disagree on one point to where I actually like him. He's he doesn't have a childish drive to it. He has an image in his mind that he wants to create in the world, and Bond's like, "What do you want? Name your number. What do you want?" Stop. And he's like, "Do you think I'm into such frivolous things?" He's like, "I want to destroy the world. I want to create
which is fair. Like, I think it's really cool that he has this really odd motivation.
He's just driven.
That goes beyond money.
That's what I like.
It goes beyond. It's like he's
he's a megalomaniac. He's a megalomaniac
he's a
villain.
Proper villain.
An underwater city. Fascinating, isn't it? The only hope for the future of mankind.
We all have our dreams.
No dream, Mr. Sterling. Soon a reality.
Now, the weird thing, though, is like I understand his motivation. I want Waterworld. I want everybody living underwater. I love the sea. Cool. But, like, how do you then convince all of these henchmen to live in the water world? Like it's like, hey, henchman, I'm new here.
Free real estate.
How much are you getting paid? And they're like, oh, I'm not getting paid. I'm gonna have a dolphin wife later.
Yeah.
But like that captain, what is the captain's motivation? Like, does the captain want to live in Waterworld?
That tracks for me if you've seen movies like Superman 2, where, there's even a whole thing where Lex Luthor's, pleading with General Zod. He's like, listen, I'll let you take over the world. Just give me Australia. You know what I'm saying? And to me, it's like that tracks with this kind of motivation where it's like you have this megalomaniac who's like, I've got this devious evil plan. I have all these resources at my fingertips. If you come work for me, I will give you a place in my kingdom, essentially. Much like this demonic version
but who wants to live in Waterworld? Like, those henchmen, why do the henchmen want to live in Waterworld?
Because they are all marine biologists.
There's got to be enough people that would love to live in the ocean.
Why not? What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
You can't pay those guys enough dollars because dollars are obviously going to be useless. So it's like you're going to have a place in the new world. But, like, those henchmen are also super freaks about the sea, and they've all been turned into SeaWorld people. It's a little
twice.
odd.
Do we know what the henchmen's motivations are?
Money.
There?
In a matter of hours, when America and Russia have annihilated each other, we shall see a new power dominating the world.
My government is quite satisfied.
Good.
The U.S. and Russia are going to destroy each other, and China's going to take over. And we're going to be in league with China. We're going to be rich. It's not like the entire surface area of the planet is going to be irradiated through nuclear winter and all that.
A new and beautiful world beneath the sea. Today, civilization as we know it is corrupt and decadent. Inevitably, it will destroy itself. I'm merely accelerating the process.
And everybody's going to live under the sea. Like, if I'm one of those henchmen, it's like, okay, what's better, to live in the world as it is now or to live under the sea? It's like, well, the world as it is now. If you had to choose, if it's like, okay, the world's going to end, it's like, okay, I'd rather be a part of the new world order under the sea. But that wouldn't necessarily motivate me to work for this psychopath. If anything, I would kind of be more motivated to betray him and just shoot him in the fucking face like Bond does. It's like, what do these hundreds of guys working for Stromberg have to gain unless they all want to have dolphin wives?
I will argue, though, that the problem with your argument is now you're arguing every Bond film's henchman, right? This is a question that I think people...
No, it's totally believable. Being a henchman, you get paid.
People sit up at night, though. Think about
paid.
this. Think about this. Everybody who's any movie that has bunches of henchmen and stuff, you have to, that starts to delve on you and you're thinking okay, so
dude, they're getting
why
paid.
Would you work for these people? Yeah, but
they're getting paid.
Where are you going to use this money if you're already listed as a criminal essentially as under this one of these henchmen? It just
it's like working for the mafia. You can still get rich and then disappear, like you said, disappear to Australia or whatever. But oh wait, Australia has been destroyed by this nuclear winter and everybody lives under the sea now. Like, all these guys have to be down to live in SeaWorld, to live in Waterworld. And like, okay, I mean, I guess that it's a cult and they all want dolphin wives. I mean, that's why I keep making that joke, because it's like, what other motivation do these guys have? Like, hey, we all got paid $100,000 a piece to pull off this job. Oh, wait, money is worthless now. Like, can you pay us in clamshells? Because clamshells are the new dollar. You know, like it's like under scrutiny, it's just a weird motivation. Now, like Stromberg just being insane, that's great. Maybe it would have worked if everybody in the control room thought, oh no, this is just extortion. And then Stromberg is secretly plotting to destroy the world. Like that would kind of make sense. But like as it stands, none of especially that captain guy who's like so willing to follow Stromberg's orders. It's like, is that guy looking forward to fucking dolphins? Like, and it's all guys too. It's all men. It's like,
but I will say like
dolphin wives for everybody. Yes, dolphumanoids are the future. Why would anybody follow this guy?
I get, because we don't see the women, like, but I mean, he does have some gorgeous babes hanging out, but we don't see a lot of them. So maybe there are more that we just don't see.
Like, hey, henchman, you get Naomi. I'd be like, oh, I'll fucking blow up any country you need for Naomi.
Oh my God, that's what I should have said.
It.
I'm like, dude, if he has Naomi and the secretary, like he probably has like a plethora of these gorgeous women.
But he fucking killed the secretary. He should have just kept her in prison.
He has a bunch more, man.
Yeah, but he should have locked her up. Like you will be the first one to fuck the male dolphins.
She's probably all dolphins. Like
secretary babe, the dolphins are gonna rape you, and your offspring will be the first of the dolphumanoids.
Oh my God.
After you get gangbanged by 17 dolphins, you bitch. Instead, he had her just get eaten by a shark.
Yeah.
Keeping the prisoners, right? We talked about how keeping the astronauts is weird because it's like, why keep them? Why not ransom them? Why not just kill them? Like, they're a liability. Is Blofeld a softie because he's keeping the astronaut prisoners? With this, it's not just a couple of astronauts.
It's like an army.
It's like an army. So it's like it'd be one thing. Like, okay, I'm breaking my own rule, but it's just like referencing how they do this in the future. Fake drink. In Tomorrow Never Dies, they just fucking kill all the guys that were on the sub, and it's great. Yeah. And like maybe that's one of those things where it's like, it was the 90s, 2000s, that
like
era.
It may not have been something you could get away with in the 70s.
Yeah, like
you
gunning
might
all
have
these
been able
guys down. Yeah, and okay, imagine this though. Imagine the crew refuses to come out of the sub and they take the cyanide gas.
You have precisely 2 minutes to open your hatches and surrender your ship. The alternative is extermination.
Imagine the amount of time you'd have to spend getting those bodies out of there. Like, that's a pain in the ass. And even just like what are you going to do? Like, have them all just lemming off? Like, are you going to put them in like gas ovens? How are you going to exterminate all these guys? Whereas like you just keep them locked away, and then maybe he wanted to keep them for his like dolphumanoid army in the future or whatever. Like, I don't know, but it's like, what do you guys think about them keeping the prisoners this time?
I think
stupid.
I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, Charlie, with the idea that his plan is not to his plan is his weird view is like to create a new world, right? And so like, if you want to populate this new world, like, why am I killing off all these guys?
They need women.
They do need women.
They need women.
That's why they're gonna the dolphins. Which we've already decided.
Yeah.
But
Don't need women.
But that being said,
Dolphumanoids!
That being said, it's like,
who wouldn't fuck a dolphin?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit of that, but I think it's also like, and if I'm gonna step outside the movie, it's gonna be like, these movies were made for kids as well at the time, so they're like, we're not gonna have a scene where a bunch of dudes are just like in the water, you know, like, I know exactly what scene you're talking about, and I'm like, that would make way more sense.
Yeah, put yourself in the shoes of those guys. The world's been destroyed, and it's like, we can either kill you or you can join the New World Order. I can believe that. Whereas with the astronauts, it was like, they were just a liability. And like, I mean, you could argue the same thing. Like, okay, now China runs things, but at the same time, it's less existential. It's less like China running things is less of a new world order than fish people. You know, it's like, do you want to be a fish person or not? Do you want to join the dolphumanoids or die? And it's like, oh, fine, I'll fuck a dolphin. I'll do it. You know.
If there's not a dolphin in this thumbnail, I'll be disappointed.
I don't think, is there even a dolphin in this whole movie?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
There's not.
Okay,
There's not.
okay. Switching gears, and if nobody has anything else to say about dolphumanoids,